queen. I'd rather be the princess, if you know me. Good afternoon. Over there we have Rudy Pedroza, who will now be known as the Rudy Meister. Rudy and Paul Blatt have worked like dogs to get me here and to provide this marriage of synergy between myself and Synergy. And they have worked tirelessly. The reward will be that I arrange a date for Rudy with Miss Galaxy, but that's later. Paul, you're married. Don't even think about it. Yeah, arginine, you'll need it. Did you know that today, right now as we're speaking, there is a geomagnetic sunstorm? Did you hear about that? So obviously even the universe is celebrating this conference. Okay, I have been an arginine researcher for the past 20 years, which means that I started it when I was 2. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. The reason I became an arginine researcher was purely selfish. It was not philanthropic. It was because in 1983, I was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer. And I'm the only survivor in the world now of terminal stomach and esophageal cancer. I got it from the environmental, thank you. It's a bad thing when you get cancer from the Environmental Protection Agency. That's just not how it's supposed to go, is it? I had a scholarship to the EPA, to my PhD, in environmental chemistry and engineering. And so I did the first toxic guideline study on PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls. We didn't know that they were carcinogens at the time, and so I breathed them for 2 years. And 2 weeks before I was engaged to be married, I woke up one day and I couldn't swallow anything, water. At the time, I was a marathon runner with Frank Shorter, who won the gold medal. So I ran 30 miles twice a week. Never been sick a day in my life. Wasn't tolerant of sickness in my body. I woke up and I couldn't swallow anything. Tried to drink water, tried to eat some pasta, nothing would go down. So I said to my fiance, you know, it's just nerves. I'm nervous about marrying you, the whole thing. So he dragged me to the hospital and they checked me and they said, oh, you've got something stuck in your esophagus. You just gotta jam it out. Which isn't a word you like to hear at a hospital. Jam it out. So I said, okay, but look, I have this little bikini I'm wearing this weekend, so, you know, don't make a scar or put any marks on me. I want to be like perfectly perfect. I was very egotistical at the time. And they said, yeah, sure, don't worry, you won't be able to see it. 9.5 hours later of surgery, I woke up and I looked at the clock. I was in recovery and I went, that clock has to be wrong. It's 9.5 hours. They said it would take a half an hour. So I looked down and I had a sheet over me. And I looked under the sheet, which was a big mistake. All the way around, the entire circumference, were big staples holding me together and 4-inch incisions. And then going from here to here was a 4-inch incision with big staples. And then sewed into my nose was a tube. And then sewed into my side were 2 huge tubes. And I said, okay, either I'm dreaming or this is a very bad thing. Something very bad's going on here. I guess we can forget the bikini for now. So then the doctor came in. It's very matter of fact. He goes, well, we're very sorry. I said, sorry? He said, yeah, we're very sorry. We couldn't get all the cancer. And I said, I'm 27 years old. What do you mean? I'm getting married. What do you mean I have cancer? What cancer? Nobody mentioned cancer. He said, oh, didn't they tell you? No, nobody's told me. Oh, well, you're the youngest person in the world ever diagnosed with terminal stomach and esophageal cancer, and we had to take out your stomach, esophagus, rib cage, and your diaphragm. I said, you mean you sort of gutted me like a fish? Yeah, sort of like that. I said, well, why'd you do that? He said, well, because you have terminal cancer. You have cancer in 12 metastatic sites. And he said, it's really interesting. We've never seen that in anybody so healthy or so young. He said, the only reason we did experimental surgery on you is because you're so young and healthy. I said, go back to that word experimental. He said, yeah, nobody's ever survived the surgery that we gave you because nobody under the age of 60 has ever had this disease. And you don't smoke, you've never drunk, we don't understand why you have it. At the time they didn't know. that it was the PCBs. I said, okay, well, what happens now? He said, well, we don't know, but nobody's ever lived past 6 months with this disease. I said, well, what's going to happen to me now? What's the treatment? He went, well, there really isn't any treatment. You can't have chemo because we built you a new stomach next to your heart. So your heart and your stomach are now together. I said, okay, I can't have chemo. What about radiation? No, you can't radiate the heart. He said, what we predict is you'll just slowly starve to death. I said, oh. And the good news is what? Well, we're going to do everything that we can to keep you out of pain because that's all we can do. We're going to be giving you morphine shots every 2 hours in your legs, 24 hours a day. You can't have any water or anything to eat for 32 days, so we'll just try to make you comfortable. That wasn't very good news. So in came my brother. It was the first time I've ever seen him cry since I stole his Zorro cape and made it into a tablecloth. He wasn't happy about that. And he said, well, Jeff's outside, your fiance. I said, you tell him to go away, never come back. He can't look at me. I'm a Frankenstein monster. I never want to see him again, ever. Corpse for a bride is not a good thing. I cannot see the look of disgust in his face when he looks at me when I was pretty, and now he's going to look at me and I'm a Frankenstein monster. Tell him to go away. My whole family was in the waiting room, 4 brothers and sisters, my mom and dad and Jeff. And there was really no hope at that point. After 32 days of pretty much what I called torture, screaming in pain, begging for morphine shots, I could hear Jeff running up and down the halls. Get her her damn shot, get her her shot. She's got to have it, she's in agony. I finally gave up. I said, that's it. I'm not going to live anyway. I'm tired of this torture. What do I have to look forward to? I weighed 78 pounds at that point. I'd gone from 115 pounds of muscle, pure athlete, down to 78 pounds of waste. My dad came in the room and he said, you've really had it, haven't you? I said, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm just so done. He said, okay. What do you want me to do? I said, I want you to take that gun that you used in Vietnam and I want you to blow my head off with it. He goes, smart man. He goes, okay, yeah, let me go home and get that, and I'll be right back, and I'll blow your head off, and then I'll spend the rest of my life in prison, and your family will be miserable, and who's going to take care of your mother? I said, okay, wait, let me think about it just a little bit. So at that point, I said, okay, God, that's it. This is the deal. I got a deal for you. If you let me live and look like a human being so that people aren't recoiling when I walk down the street, if you let me be healthy again, I will spend the rest of my life trying to discover, let me see, what can I discover? I'll discover things, yeah, good things that help mankind, that's good, yeah. And scientific discoveries that help people, and I'll work with cancer patients, and okay, God, whatever you want me to do is what I'll do if you'll just let me live and look healthy and be happy and get Jeff back. And from that moment on, my life changed. My dad called the Linus Pauling Institute, and Linus Pauling, the 2-time Nobel Prize winner, was a kind enough man to call me on the phone and said, I've written a protocol for you because you're so young and healthy, and they're going to transfer you to Georgetown University Hospital, where they're going to put you on L-arginine, vitamin C, vitamin E, and other antioxidants. I know you can't eat, but we're going to pump them into your body. And I said, L-arginine, what's that? I mean, I'm a chemist. I know what an amino acid is. He said, it's going to help boost your immune function. I had never heard of L-arginine being used for immune function. So they started pumping me in by IV huge amounts of L-arginine and vitamin C and vitamin E and bioflavonoids and antioxidants. And all of a sudden, I started getting better. I totally recovered. Now I run 30 miles a week. Now I eat what I want. Now I have Jeff back. We're married and been married for 20 years. And that man fed me a spoonful of soup every hour for 2 years to keep me alive. I didn't eat for 2 years. And when you don't eat for 2 years, watch out when you get food. There is nothing safe around me anymore. You put that fried chicken leg